What else?
That's it.
Mr.
Not
Ratz?
bad for a guy 90 years old.
Amazing. I'm using glasses. You don't use glasses.
I just took them off.
And he's 95. 95, right?
Me?
95.
Much older.
If he's 95, I'm 57.
Mr. Ratz, the kids, they read about you. We went online, we learned about you.
Online? I'm online too?
You're on the internet. You know, you're famous. You're very famous.
Thank
And
you.
they read all about you, and they wrote some questions to ask you.
No
Okay?
problem.
And they're going to interview you. So they're going to take turns. First, Frida's going to go. And then,
You'll be in charge. You tell me what you want to do.
it's fine.
No
So I'm
problem.
telling you, right? All
Fine,
they're going to take
fine,
turns.
fine.
First, Frida's going to go, and they're going to take turns asking you questions.
Yes.
And you just tell them, and if they leave anything out, at the end, they'll tell you, is there anything else you want to add? And you can tell us more stuff. Okay?
I brought you a lot of stuff here
So
because...
at the end, they're going to ask you to show us all the stuff you brought.
Okay,
Okay?
no problem.
One ice cube or two, sir? You think
No,
I'm
ice
kidding
cube.
about your ice cube? If you want.
You put me ice too? Or you're a gentleman?
This is your food, sir.
Where's the lemon?
No lemon. Don't confuse me, I'm getting old.
You're getting
One
old.
sweet and low, sir.
Oh, but
Oh,
Mr.
come on.
Ratz is only 57.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's the only thing I want to be well. I want you to know I just came from Israel. I spent the 6 weeks. I went to my granddaughter's wedding right after Yom Kippur. They live there now in Yerushalayim. I have another grandson who became a tata, and he became a father, and I became a great-grandfather.
Great-great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather.
And you were Sandak.
I was a Sandak here. But Beramot, Bet Shemesh.
I have much, a lot more
No,
wishes.
the only thing I want to be well, that's all.
That's all.
Okay, we'll start with you, my dear. Oh,
Who is
you're number one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where is Alicia?
This R?
No,
Behind
me.
you.
Says R.
Go ahead.
Oh, wait. Where would they go? There we
So,
go. Okay.
ready.
Is anybody related to Brian Marcus?
Oh, I just went running with Brian Marcus.
Pardon me?
I went running with him. Brian?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Brian Marcus?
Yeah.
He lives in Mill Basin?
Mm-hmm.
You're kidding.
Well, who is it?
I live in the... We are neighbors.
That's so funny.
You live in Mill Basin too?
No, I live here.
What, he trains you for the SBH marathon?
I think his mother-in-law used to work here. She's still working here, I'm not sure.
Maybe down the street. Maybe.
Yeah.
probably.
Okay.
He's a trainer?
Okay, we're gonna.
He's not the... Maybe,
We're
no,
recording.
it's
Okay,
not
we're
him.
recording. We're going to start Mr. Ratz and then we'll...
Okay,
we'll
I'm ready.
Good morning. My name is Rita Gindi. Thank you for coming to be interviewed for Names Not Numbers project. Please tell me your name.
My name is Jack Ratz. Really, my real name is Isaac Ratz. But I had to do change my name many times. I'm able to survive.
In what city or town were you born?
I was born, it's not a town, it's a city called Riga. It has close to 1 million people living. It's the capital of Latvia.
In what language do you speak at home?
At home, Yiddish.
Describe your life, what your life was like growing up before the war.
There were 5 sons in the mishpacha, 5 brothers. Everybody was shot. On the 1st December 1941. This happened just a couple of weeks ago, 73 years ago. And I was not the oldest. I was number 2. I was not quite 14 years old. I was captured by the Nazis. And before the Nazis came into my country, the Russians came into my country. My older brother, he was 16, 17 years old, he was mobilized by the Russian army when the war started June 22nd, 1941. He was drafted in the army, he never came home. Really, between the Russians and the Germans, the war started June 22nd, 1941. On July 1st, the Nazis already arrived in my country. I went to a school called Torah Derech Ratz, and all my brothers went with me. It was a religious school. In the school itself, we had to speak Hebrew. in the street I spoke Russian. At home I spoke Yiddish. And the country itself was Latvia. I had to learn how to speak Latvian too at the same time. So this is the way I spent my younger years with my brothers. The country itself is a very cold country. It's one of the Baltic states. The city itself was beautiful, but the memories are terrible. And time when the war started June 22nd, and by July 1st, we were already occupied by the Nazis. And the Germans called it a blitzkrieg, a lightning war. Within a couple of weeks, they occupied close to 1 million miles throughout Russia, the Ukraine, the Baltic states, South Arabia, part of it is Finland. And I can give you many, many more stories because I'm a major in history, also a major in geography.
What did your father do?
My father, he was a contractor for the police department, the fire department. They used to manufacture garments. It depends what else he was doing. He was also making bathing suits, making anything to make some money because the time when my father had the children, we had a depression. Going back in the late 20s. No matter how bad it was here, it was worse over there. It's a little country. And listen, my mother never worked because she had to raise children. We had a beautiful life. We had a lot of people who were in business. The city itself was very, very cultured. We had the opera in the city, ballet. That's in the Lifnikov. He's also one of the guys who was born in Latvia. He was a ballet dancer. And we had also the stock market. We had the most modern equipment you can find in the city, like trolley cars, buses. They had some kind of buses which were made in England where they were able to go and destroy the garbage right in the bus itself. Interesting. We had supermarkets, we had department stores. It's not a town, it's a little city. It's a big city. Go ahead.
Describe Shabbat in your home.
About my home, we had a maid in the house. And we had a big apartment. In the same apartment, we also had a shop. People working for us. It was not really a home. We lived in an apartment house. I happened to go and visit the apartment house, I would say, maybe 10 years ago. I took along all my kids with me. In the book, you'll find I was introduced to the president of the country. We were just a few of us, maybe 10 survivors who went to Latvia. And before the war, we had friends, we had a lot of organizations. We had very important people in those days come to visit Latvia. A fellow by the name of Trumpeldor, Jabotinsky, Ben Gurion, all those people were, how should I say, they were involved with Riga, Latvia because we had the people there. As a matter of fact, if you have a chance, you're going to read my book. You'll see I have the first president in Israel was also from Latvia. The first rabbi, Rav Kook, comes also from Latvia. And those are the kind of people we had in Latvia. Again, you take a country like Latvia, not only Riga, but there's another city called Minsk or Daugavpils or Dinenburg. It's all the same name because every time we were occupied by a different country. They changed the name of the city, they changed the name of the street. So in Latvia there was a city called Vinsk, where you had the Rogatchover Gaon, and also the Rebbe Simcha Cohen. They lived in Vinsk, and it's also part of Latvia. Most people who were neighbors from Latvia towards a country like the Ukraine or the White Russia or Russia itself, everybody's trying to live in Riga, Latvia because it was modern. It was most people, as a matter of fact, when they had to leave from Latvia, from Russia or the Ukraine, they used to go to Latvia because Riga was also known like a port city. It's a city with a combination like Paris and New York, modern city. Go ahead.
Describe Pesach in your home.
Pesach was very beautiful. Don't forget, it's not like over here. You go into the liquor store, you buy the wine, and you buy. We used to. My mother used to make med. Have you heard it in the med? No, it's not as strong as wine. It is also a drink. We used to use it, not for the Abakosov. I'll never forget. I was a kid yet, so we used to go to the shul, to the mikveh, to go ahead and table all the dishes to make sure they have it for Pesach. We were kids, and then we used to play in Nish, like a little nuts with the kids in school. I went to a private school called Torah B'derech Eretz, and as a matter of fact, the principal of the school, he just passed away. He was the secretary to the Rebbe, Rabbi Chadakov, if you have the name, Lubavitch. And Lubavitch, the Rebbe lived in my country from 1927 till 1939. And Chadakov, he was his principal. And when they left for the United States at 770 Eastern Parkway, he was with him, with the first Rebbe. When I became chairman of the board of my congregation, and we needed a shamus, I called him up. I said, Rebbe, we need a shamus. Maybe you can get me somebody from Lubavitch. Rabbi Tzchok, he died. Alle meine Talmidim gefunden der Chabak am Potter Aretz, überall. Lubavitch is all over the world. So we spend our Pesach in the house. We used to invite, naturally. Mishpacha, my aunt used to live there, my cousin. Everybody's dead.
How did you celebrate Hanukkah before the war?
Hanukkah I used to play in Dreidlich. And we always had a good time. I'll never forget Hanukkah. We had our vacation, but sometimes we used to stick him back to school. We used to have competition with our friends. We used to play in Dreidlich, this way, up. It was very cute. We had a wonderful life. We had a Shema Hatzai, we had a Shema Radati. We had the Aguda, we had everything in Latvia.
Did you light the Chanukiah with your family?
If I did what?
Did you light the menorah with your family?
Sure. Matter of fact, right now I have 2 menorahs left because I have my kids in the house living. No, my kids are all married and my kids are all grandparents. It's an accomplishment.
Yeah. Describe your education before the war.
I had very little education. Very little. I finished after the 8th grade. And then the war started. The war started first actually in Poland. I start speaking about Hitler when he came to power in 1933. He liquidated all the private organizations. That's all he had, the Hitler Jugend and the Nazi Party. And later on, we had a normal life. But as far as what education is concerned, I didn't go to school anymore because it was very expensive to go to private schools. And in those days, like today, we have depression over here, we have depression over there. And unfortunately, not everybody to look at. My brother did go to high school, gymnasium. But this is it.
So we're gonna switch now.
Switch.
Yeah. Have it?
Where's your principal?
He's doing some interviews right now.
He's speaking to somebody, a couple.
What's his name?
Rabbi Zucker.
Zucker, right. I spoke for him many years
with
ago
some
in
parents.
New Jersey. He had a coil. Can you imagine? He said, Jack, what are you doing here? I said, what are you doing here?
You'll see him. He'll come in.
He knows who I am.
Go speak loudly.
Yeah,
Alright, we're good, we're good.
yeah, you have 3 seconds to be in position. Yeah, sound. You have to just listen.
Check. You
And
can
if there's
speak
some
a little bit
weird,
louder.
something weird,
Okay.
tell me.
Problem.
Well,
If
it's
you
back
don't
from old
use
man.
it,
No,
if
no.
it's too loud, then-
Describe Shabbat in your home.
Shabbat was wonderful.
One second.
To be honest with you,
Not enough.
Another one like, I don't know.
Well, that's unpredictable. That goes with the story. We don't know. I'll tell you.
Shabbat is wonderful because we all went to shul Shabbos morning. We had in Riga itself 65 shuls. We had big shuls, we had little shuls, we had Sfardim, we had Ashkenazim, and me and my father, my brother, we all went to a shul. Actually, it was a minyan. There were 3 minyanim, and they called the Ratz minyanim. There was a minyanim actually named after Rashi. And one was a Sfardi, and one was Ashkenazi. Unfortunately, on July 4th, 1941, 64 shuls burned up with the people in the shul. I have it on my tape. So, sometime when you finish davening in the morning, like you daven in a little shul, like the Aguda and so on, we used to go to the Gogol shul, which is a very big shul. It was actually, there were close to 1,500 people on a Shabbat morning when they have a very important chazan. We go to listen to a chazan. They made to go and pick up the chont. And then we came home and spent the Shabbat. So we used to go to see my friends because we lived in a Jewish neighborhood. I want to add something to it, not only about the Shabbat. I want to add what happened to us most of the time. The second day of Rosh Hashanah, that you know, we go for Tashlich. And I lived in a private house. Actually, it wasn't a private house, it was around 6-family house, all Jewish people, except the super. She was a Christian. And we used to go not far from the house, we used to go for Tashlich. But since the country itself was anti-Semitism, so they used to go and beat us up all the time for going for Tashlich. And actually, the next Yom Tov was Sukkot, where people were so happy, used to go to the Sukkah. And sometimes people, they were happy to come to Simchas Torah, they used to walk around. We didn't have any, automatically, the roof is done by some kind of, what do you call it, sticks. Over here, we used to put actually like a Christmas tree on top of the sukkah. It used to be like the roof of the sukkah. And that's what we celebrate every Yom Tov. And we had a wonderful life till the Nazis came in.
Did you encounter any anti-Semitism in your childhood?
Yes and no. Actually, most of our playing, being neighbors, was also Goyim. And when you're kids, you don't pay attention being anti-Semitic or anti-Nazi. You used to play together, you know. And the playing was done in the middle of the street. We had no parks, we had nothing. So we used to play certain games which I mentioned in my book. We used to play games with other kids, and our game was playing like tickets which you go from country to country. Like the country I was, Riga itself had 3 railroad stations. One station was going up south, towards France, Italy, what else? Portugal, Spain, Belgium, Holland. Then we had another railroad station that was going towards Russia. And then the third one we used to have in Riga, we called the Riga Strand. It's in the summertime, people used to come. Actually, in the summertime, the Baltic Sea was a beautiful sea. It was not really like the Atlantic Ocean. And everybody used to come down to spend the summers in Riga Strand. It's called Nayurmala. If you have the money, you get it to a villa. And that's where we spend our life. Any other questions?
What What did you do for fun with your friends?
For family, friends.
Fun with your
Fun
friends.
with your friends.
How'd you have fun?
In your childhood, what was like the fun activities with your friends?
Oh, the activity, especially right across the street from my house, there was a tremendous building. It's called a sport building, actually, the Maccabi, the Jewish soccer games, and basketball game we used to play right across the street. So we used to sneak in, we used to play a little basketball. Or in the winter time, we used to fight with the cars, because this was in the early 30s. There weren't too many cars on the road. But what we used to do, we used to have sleds with horses. So we used to hang on to the back of the sled with the horse. Because to go from school to come home, it's a pity walk. And we used to come late at night, because the days by us in the winter was very short. In the summer was very long. So we used to hang on with it once in a while to the horses with the sleds. We used to come all together, all our brothers used to come together. And once my brother went ahead and told my father, he squealed on me about hanging on to the horses. So I got a good beating. At the end, so I said to him, "Not since I got the beating, I'm going to tell you about later." Nevertheless, that's Rechon gehangen. Got two beatings. For Massering, for tell the story. And then, this is life with the kids. So that was the way I lived with my friends. I lived the same thing. We were living right next to the water. I learned how to swim. In the winter time, I learned how to skate on the river, all on my own. And that's where I spent my years as a teenager.
How old were you when you first heard the name Hitler?
I would say Hitler came to power in 1933. I heard about Hitler then. And when the Axis started occupying the Sudetenland, and then Czechoslovakia, and then Austria, and then Ribbentrop and Molotov, the foreign ministers from Russia and Poland and Germany, they had an agreement on top of Berchtesgaden. Berchtesgaden was a summer home for Hitler and Eva Braun. And they had an agreement, they're going to take Poland in half. Germany took the west, and Russia took the east. And then sooner or later they start getting a lot of refugees coming from all those countries. In a little country like we lived, no matter how big our apartment was, we still took in more people into the house. And we had a couple there, and later on they knew where they come from Germany. So before they took everybody out to get killed in Wimberley Forest, so they committed suicide.
How did life change after the outbreak of World War II?
Now, with me as a kid, I didn't really pay too much attention. I know one thing. When the Russians came into my country on June 17, 1940, because first the Germans took over part of their piece of bread, how to say. The Russians decided they're going to start occupying, taking over part of Europe too. So they took over the Baltic states, then they took over Bessarabia, and they started taking off Finland. At the end, the only one who was international, or I should say a country like Sweden, it was neutral. Go ahead.
Describe life under Soviet rule.
Under Soviet rule, I'll be honest with you, for me personally, I had a better life because I managed to go to school at night without any charge. In Russia, in those days, they liked to see people should get educated. I was then 13, 14 years old. I started going to school at night. I worked during the day. And as far as the Russians are concerned, I was shocked to see in a country like mine, where before the war, I would say from 33 till 1938, 39, I never had seen in my country like a policeman to be a Jew, or a Jew should be a general, or a captain, where during the Russian time, all of a sudden you saw the head of the police department is a Jew, head of the army is a Jew. I never saw this before, so I felt, listen, who knows how long this is going to go on like this. Now I'm free. I feel that I can live and go things and do things and get a better education. I did everything on my own. So under the Russian rule, me personally, I benefited by it. Or somebody else, they had their own businesses, tremendous businesses. All the Jewish people were usually in the business, stores, department stores. They actually run the country. They were in the prime ministers, they were in the cabinet and so on. So under Russian it wasn't so bad, but at the same time, the same year in 1941, when the war started on June 22nd, this happened on June 14th. I found out the place I used to work for, they arrested the boss himself with his wife, and they had two daughters which they didn't take them with the mother and father, and they sent to Siberia. You heard the story about it. They must have arrested close to 5,000 Jewish people to send to Siberia, and we felt sorry for them. This happened on June the 14th, and June the 22nd the war started.
How did things change when Germans invaded?
Terrible. They started the war June 22nd, and July 1st they arrived in my country. A matter of 8 days, a week and a day. And at the same time, the next day, July 2nd, they arrested 8,000 Jewish men. It was all done by the neighbors. At the end, they arrested
The other one is also good. This guy, oh,
No,
we
it's
changed
fine.
these two.
If it doesn't, I'll explain.
Let's change both.
Really?
I spoke on top of Masada.
Wow, that's good.
I'll show you my book.
Great, so we're getting sound, right? Check.
You? How can you hear it? It doesn't talk.
Well, yeah, he hears the background. Okay, great. So we change the batteries. We can go.
Okay. Describe how did things change when the Germans invaded?
No, like I said to you before, when the Germans arrived in my city, the war started June 22nd, and from June 22nd till July 1st, the Germans arrived in my city. Now, between the 8 days, they bombed the city. They had 3 different, I should say, bridges. One went to the left, and one went up north, one went south, the different countries. And all the bridges were destroyed. They burned up all the congregation the next day, actually July 4th, with all the people in it. And from this particular day on, we never had a good day. I did something else lately. I wouldn't say lately, I'm doing it for the past 25 years. I write poetry. I was a poet, I didn't even know it. And my poetry, most of it is written in Yiddish. And my poems are also in certain books, certain newspapers. And this is the story, I started writing it, what happened to me when Hitler came to power. And I still keep on going as long as I can. People call on me all the time to speak all over. I must have spoken to at least 500,000 kids already throughout the United States, Canada, Norway, Finland, Denmark. This is my mission. And I don't have to worry about it. I repeat myself all the time, because I always have no kids. And most of my kids I spoke to are non-Jews even. I want them to know about it, besides you guys, you know. And this is part of my mission. As a matter of fact, I couldn't walk much lately, so I got myself a scooter, a Shabbos scooter. I'm going to shul with a scooter. And since I go to shul with a scooter, the man who owns the company sent me a little information about my life. He wants to know when did I get that scooter, and I was 30 years old, 40 years old, 60 years old, 70, 80. As I started out, I put my own number down. He was so impressed that he wants to know who I am. I became one of his representatives for the company. And they have something like 1,500 people working for them. So we became very good friends. And now I call him, he calls me, and he wants to know exactly what really happened to me all my life. So now they have what they call a tremendous amount of people working there. They have their own secretaries, they have their own news commentators. So they're very much involved with each other. I don't know who he is. I don't know, maybe.
Okay, we're going to take this opportunity to switch.
Okay, we're gonna switch to the question, person asking questions.
So anyhow, going back as far as the Germans are concerned, within a matter of 6 months, they made up their mind in Berlin that they have to eliminate all the Jews in the Baltic states. So the first country became Judenrein was Estonia, then Latvia. They wiped us out back in 1941, December 8th. They had 2 ghettos. One ghetto, they started killing other people from November the 28th, and they finished off December the 8th. And the ghetto became empty. And they had already prepared other Jews to send them to Latvia to live in the ghetto. The one ghetto was for men who actually happens to be a workforce. And the other ghetto was for other countries like Lithuania, Latvia, and Germany, Austria, and Czechoslovakia. And this was the beginning of the end of all the Latvian Jews. After the war, we only wound up with 300 Jews in Latvia. Today, I was one of the youngest who survived. And I'm only 57.
Okay, girls, let's
Okay, we're gonna
switch.
switch.
Well, get into position anyway.
Hurry up, girls. Gonna do question 19.
She's the mic to the next question. She was the first.
And this. You sound?
Are you doing something else in the video? No, you're doing video.
Didn't I tell you before? I used to call. Is this part of my teenage chronology? No. I thought it was part of my teenage chronology. I was speaking to a lot of schools, and I had a case where I spoke in Canada, and they decided to go ahead and combine 6 different high schools. Because over there, the country is tremendous, but not too many people live there. And they called me, particular neighborhood, it's called the cow country. Farmed, a lot of farms there. But the principal, he put together 6 high schools. I spoke through a television station. At the end, he asked me, Mr. Ratz, you're a smart man, you went through so much help. Give my kids some advice. What they should do for the future. I said, I don't know. Can I predict the future? Impossible. But when I was marching, I made that much. I made up my mind. After I've been liberated, I'm going to be a baker. I was always hungry. But I was liberated, and I made up my mind to be whatever is available. I said, whatever you're going to be good in it. Don't ask questions. Don't be afraid of asking questions. At the end, I told them, I myself wound up spending 2 more years in the VP camp, in the space tracking camp. And there I took up electronics. I made up my mind to stick to it. When I came to the United States, I became a television repairman. Then I worked for the Twins for many years. And at the end, I said, listen, be whatever you are. Be good in it, otherwise you'll work for McDonald's. Okay, I'm ready.
And we're gonna go back in time here a little bit. So go ahead, Sarah.
Okay. Describe the day you were moved into the ghetto.
Now, the point is this. We happened to be, my father was a smart man. He made up his mind that he can move into a ghetto and still get this apartment. So we got a nice apartment. I have pictures of the ghetto too. And I got a nice apartment. And me and my father together, we had to go to work from the ghetto into the city itself, which wasn't a city already. But this was, my father used to be a tailor, and he worked for the police department. And I was with him, because over there, every couple of weeks, they used to switch us around to different type of work. I used to be a longshoreman, I used to carry furniture, I used to cut wood, because actually when the ghetto got empty in December, on December the 12th, they already prepared, I don't know how many Jews occupied the ghetto, especially German Jews, Austrian Jews, Czechoslovakian Jews. And when they got into the ghetto, those people, they didn't send them to work, they were families actually. And somehow, we had no families, so they thought we had men in the ghetto. So we had 2 ghettos. We had that small ghetto and a big ghetto. And the big ghetto existed 2 years. So did the small ghetto, and they made up their mind to liquidate both ghettos and send everybody out of the ghetto. So most of the German Jews, the Austrian Jews were sent to Auschwitz. And I wound up working for another company because with me they're useful. I was working in the place where my father works. He was a tailor. In my case, I wound up working with him for a while, and then later on, my father was separated from me, and he works in a swamp. The swamp is they were digging into the swamp and take out a certain kind of material from the underground. It's called turf, T-U-R-F. And this type of burning material, they utilize it for the gasoline instead of having gasoline. So I wound up working in Lenta, and since I have no profession, I decided to work in the kitchen. I used to get up 3 o'clock in the morning and prepare the kettles There were 400 men working there for the Gestapo. I'm going to sidetrack a little bit. The man who ran the factory there himself happened to be a Jew. I have it booked in my house, written about him in German. And he was a little kid. He was adopted back in World War I by the German soldiers. He lived at the Germans. Later, when he was liberated, I wound up in another concentration camp called Salzburg. I spent only 9 days over there because I was watched the torture what they did to the Russian prisoners was unbearable to see. And this was in August 1944. And I'll never forget the day when they made up their mind to liquidate the factory because the Russians were occupying most of Russia, occupied already. And the day was September 26, 1944, was the day of Yom Kippur. They put us on the boat and they took us direct to another concentration camp. We were floating on the boat in the Baltic Sea for 3 days, the day of Yom Kippur. And we had a chazan, a cantor, on the boat, and he was actually davening without the mask. And it says, Rosh Hashanah Yikaseimu, Yom Kippur Yechaseimu, Yichye Meyimus, Ba'erev, Ba'cherev, Ba'esh, Ba'mayim, and Yom Kippur, to put you down. And that's when we arrived in Danzig, in Germany. Actually, right now it's Poland. It's my phone, I guess. Over here. And at the end was, they gave me another number. My first number was 281, and my second number was 92,693. They gave me new clothes, prisoner clothes. The clothes were given to me in September till I was liberated. I never took the clothes off. It smelled terrible. So this is the day I spent the last couple of months before I was liberated. In between, I've incorporated. I was working in a submarine factory. My days were from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then I had to go to sleep back. They took me by train back to the other camp, a work camp called Burggraben. And from there, I wound up working on the death march. We didn't go to work anymore because the Russians nobody came into Germany. And after they came into Germany, the Germans didn't know what to do with us. So they decided to take us on death march. The death march took us approximately 2 weeks. And every night we slept someplace else. With cows, with horses, stables, in barns, you name it. Because they were afraid to march with us during the night. Because during the night, they were afraid we were going to run away someplace. Where can we run? What can we do? Somehow, the day came, November 9th, to start marching us again. And my father, I can't walk anymore. I said, I'm not going to walk. We're going to get killed. He said, please do me a favor. Let's walk. He said, no. So I listened to him. The next morning, we were liberated. So this is the end of my life, living under the Nazis. And then I got sick with typhoid. I used to tell the kids, I said, you guys are very lucky. I said, listen, you spent 4 years in high school. And you arrive the first year becoming a freshman. Me, they put me in a ghetto. The second year, you're a sophomore. They put me in a work camp. The third year, you became a junior. And they put me in a concentration camp. I graduated. And the fourth year, when you go, fourth year is then you don't do much studying at all, but what you do, if you go around, you look for the Ivy League school you're going to go to. My granddaughter graduated from Ratz Yeshiva. From there she went to Barnard. From Barnard she went to Columbia. And today she's teaching organic chemistry in one of the high schools. All of my grandkids all went to college, except me. At the end is, when we were liberated, I said, you were looking around to get into a nice college, and you're going here and going there. I didn't go any place. I went in a death march. At the end, you take the girl to the prom, and they took me to the hospital. I got sick with typhoid. That's for 2 months in the hospital. And then I was liberated by the Russians. And I want to make sure that I should be able to help out the Russian army. So they put me in a place they wanted to be a spy. I got well. First of all, I became security guard by the hospital because I speak German and I speak Russian. At the end, they see that a lot of German fathers are killing out the Russian soldiers. Because what happened is they get all of the Russian girls, the German girls, and many as 30 or 40 girls actually are taken away by the Russians, by the Russians from the Germans, and they remain without any children. So they wanted to be a spy. And then I said to the captain, I said, do me a favor. I cannot give you the answer tomorrow morning. I'll come back again. And the next morning I ran away from them. I came and I disappeared. You finished?
We're going to switch, but you can finish your thought.
Now listen, there's no end to it. What can I say? Listen, that's life. So anyhow, I wound up running away from the Russian army, from the Russian zone in Germany. We had the German zone, the American zone, and I wound up, I traveled with my father for 2 months around other countries. And every time going on a train, the Russians used to come and check you out who you are, what you are, where you come from. At the end was, every single time we got on a different train, we had to go change our clothes. Because if we go into Romania, we have to look like Romanians. And when you go into Czechoslovakia, you have to look like Slovakians. At the end, they start speaking to you in Russian. So he said, but you do speak in Hebrew. He said, I don't know how to speak Hebrew. Well, you don't know how to speak Hebrew. Don't know anything in Hebrew. I know how to say Kaddish. The Russian comes over to you and asks you a question. Say, it's Kadal, it's Kadash, Merabo. You know what I'm talking about? The man didn't know. The Russian, the MP didn't know what he's talking about. He didn't answer, he answered him in a Kaddish. So the outcome is that we wind up first in Austria, in Vienna. Vienna was in those days divided into 4 different zones. And then the next day we found out that we happened to be in the American zone. And from there we felt already a little easier for ourselves. And the outcome was, from there we had a chance to go into the American zone in Germany, and I spent 2 years in Landsberg. It's a city where Hitler wrote his book in 1922, Mein Kampf. And from there, I found out that Mishpacha in the United States. And I arrived there all by myself in 1947, with $7 in my pocket.
Okay, girls, we're going to switch now.
Okay, so just, you covered most of it. So I would say that we didn't
Find out
do
what he
20.
did with the $7 in his pocket.
What?
What he did with the $7 in his
Yes,
pocket.
but I
How
want
he
to
got
have to go back into the ghetto a little. Like
What I did today,
you
Baruch
didn't tell
Hashem.
the story about the ring, so I want to ask that.
Okay.
Okay, so question 26.
I don't have them anymore. I gave the ring away in the Holocaust Museum in Washington.
Okay, so let's do question 26.
What about like 20? Oh, 21 maybe.
No, he told us about life in the ghetto.
No, he just got out.
Okay, so I'll do.
So let's do like how when did you leave like when?
I would
Start
do more about the
25.
death march. I would do 26. You could do 25, 26. He told us about work camp. And then
The clock is ticking.
31. 25, 26, 31. And then go back to ask him what he did with the $7 in his pocket.
I was interviewed by Shulamit High School. Rabbi Klammer happens to be a friend of mine.
Yes, I know Rabbi Clammer.
Right. A very good friend. He said to me, Jack, I took your book for the last 6 months. Every chapter we read about it. And the girls decided to send you 36 questions. And to each question you have to add 2 words. Emunah and Betachon.
Oh, very nice.
So I made like a kumzitz, like He picked me up. I don't drive anymore. Can you imagine me answering?
Be efficient, come on.
You guys, you're wasting tea.
And for every question, I gave an answer. And the same lady with me now, too. She sat with me, too. And I was talking, and she said, no, your kids, the kids were crying.
Wow. Okay, so do 26 for sure. You could do 26 for sure, and then we'll go from there. Because we don't have so much time. Go ahead.
Did you lose any family members in the ghetto, and were you able to
Yes.
commemorate their death?
Yes. My mother was shot on December 8th, 1941. And the Hebrew date is Yud Ches Kislev. My father died on December 8th, 1983. 41 years later. And my wife died on December 6th, 2006. So last week I finished saying Kaddish for all of them. What can I do? I told my son, bring me, I need 8 Yotzat candles. I finished it with my wife. She died the Zan Christmas. I had a very terrible week. But let's look the other way around. Today, I have 16 grandchildren and 6 great grandchildren. This is the nachas to take the cover from Hitler. So what can I say? Baruch Hashem, I live in the neighborhood already 40 years in Mill Basin. I was already chairman of the board, vice chairman of the board, you name it. I made up my mind to do something for myself. And I started writing books. My wife was alive then. My wife was born in the United States. And all my kids went to college and universities, except me. People come to my house. I made myself a museum in my house. Rambam, my sister, sent the kids who live in Brooklyn. They go to 5 towns. They still come to my house sometimes. I give them a breakfast. I give them something in their mind, something in their stomach. So, this is my mission now. So today, I just finished speaking a couple of last year before, to number 60 Center Street in Manhattan, in front of 250 judges. And the CEO from the company wrote my friend an email on the cell phone. He would like to have my speech. I said, me? My speech? I speak by heart. So anyhow, he said to me, what do you need my speech for? Because he wants to go ahead and put together, I have it over here in my book too, that to put together something which is done. The whole world should know that he happens to be in charge of the New York State, the jail committee. So I send me a copy too. So he sent me a copy. And in my last printing, I just finished printing number 15 and number 16. There are thousands of books all over the world, as far as Australia, Johannesburg, Africa, South America, Uruguay, Paraguay, Mexico, you name it. And this is what I'm trying to accomplish as long as I can, even I don't feel good. Any other questions?
Can you tell us about the ring that you made to commemorate?
The ring, I made the ring in a ghetto itself. And every time I used to show the ring, I just gave the ring away I forgot to take something else. I gave away to the Holocaust Museum in Washington. They had the ring on display. Also, they gave me not long ago, maybe 2 months ago, they gave me the button. And I didn't take the button, which is not important. Because I'm an honorary survivor. Big deal. What more can I say? The ring I made in 1942. I have the ring in my book. I still like to change it. You never saw my book. You did or you didn't. I took along a couple of books to the gear girls. I said to you, you want to buy the book? I'll sign the book for you too. And the signing is very simple. Rachel, right? Somebody's name is Rachel?
Marilyn.
Marilyn?
Marilyn.
Marilyn. To my good friend Marilyn, you can read the book in one day, and you will remember the book the rest of your life. Your friend Jack Ratz. So, many times people come to the museum in Washington, I must have been there 50 times already. I sign books there, and they sell my book there anyhow. As a matter of fact, yesterday I got some other orders from Amazon.com. They want my book, and I keep on selling it. So I was trying to say that once a young man comes to the museum in Washington and says, Daddy, I want to buy Mr. Ratz's book. Buy it. Dad, would you mind take a picture of me, Mr. Ratz? They took a picture. A couple of months later, I got my computer. It says, Mr. Ratz is the first one I ever met. But what I did, I took your book, your picture, me and you together, and I framed it. And I put the picture above my bed. And every time I'm depressed, I look at you. If you can do it, I can do it. Give it inspiration and courage.
Mr. Ratz, can you tell them what you inscribed on the ring? What you put
Yes.
on it?
On the ring I described Yud Reis. I had the opportunity to speak in Manhattan Beach in one of the schools, the yeshivas. And at the end I told them, Gematria, Yud is 10 and Reis is 200. And I spent 210 years at the Nazis. And inside, I described the day, the month, and the year they were killed. This is the ring was made out of silver. No? Would you mind? Give me, now the other thing. Yeah. I'll just show you if you, it's heavy, right? You can open it up over here. No, here. There's the other one too. Push it. No, take it. Are those zeros over here? That doesn't open it. Are those zeros?
Yeah.
Put it down. So this is the book. And this is my DVD. And this is the ring. And this is me over here. If you have more questions,
They'll show this and then they'll ask you a few
Can
closing
you show it to
questions.
the camera so I can film it? And we'll see. That, perfect.
So that's you and that's the
Is that
ring?
you?
this is me here.
Oh, you are handsome.
This is me being in a DP
You
camp.
look like a movie star.
That's what I say.
Seriously.
Can you tell us a little bit about being in the DP camp?
Yes, I spent 2 years in the DP camp, and I made up my mind, because when I spoke the last time, it was Camp Drum. There's it's like a army camp, not next to Canada. It's more of the ring if you.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Tell them how he made the ring, like what's
What is it, Camp Drum?
Yeah, tell us
Camp
more.
Drum, it happened to be
Yeah, I know what it is. Tell us about it. You spoke.
it's upstate New York. I found a Chabad, believe it or not. I spoke there in a different place. It was also a high school, and the young fellow happened to be a Jewish man himself, but what he's doing up there, I have no idea. And in the daytime, I spoke to the schools, and at night I spoke to the farmers. And at the end, there was lines lined up, everybody bought the book. And by being in Camp Drum, when I was there, so I had to sleep over someplace. So the Chabad got a hold of me, I slept over there. And then, when I finished there, I had to go home. My wife, I think, was still alive then. She was my co-pilot. And my girl was born, she was born here. And what can I say? Wherever I go, I'm being invited to speak again, and speak again, and speak again. So once I spoke, also upstate New York in Albany. The teacher happens to be a social study teacher, And she picked me up in Holocaust Museum in Washington. So I said to her, Lori, what's the story? Can you come down to my school? I said, why not? I'm St. Albans. What is St. Albans? I said, yeah. Upstate New York. It's a 6-hour drive. I said, forget about it. I'm not going. Anyhow, I went there by plane. And then I spoke also in Fredonia College. If you heard of it? No.
Which college?
Fredonia.
Where is that?
It's also upstate New York. Over there, I took the plane, and from the plane I wound up taking. The kid picked me up by car. Then I spoke also in Galion, Ohio. And I spoke in California. I spoke all over. And as far as this type of work that I'm doing right now, no matter how many I'm going to speak yet, I have no idea. I'm always ready to come and to go and take care of it. And in one place they paid me a lot of money. I took the money I gave for the tzedakah because I have a very big mishpacha. Not me, my wife. I just came from a chasana besides my granddaughter got married. My niece's son got married. She married off number 11. Kanahara. So this is part of my life.
Where's the book that you wrote? Do you have that with you?
Right here. I sell the books. I'll sign the book. I'll give you more books. I bought a few more books over here.
Could you show that up to the panel?
And then over here, this.
Oh, there's more pictures.
This me over here. And he's the ring, maybe you can see it better.
Look at the ring.
Yeah.
And you want to see a handsome guy?
Yeah.
More of that.
Let me see.
Yeah, we read about the number 281.
He's the number 281.
How did you get that picture of 281?
How I got it?
Yeah.
I went to visit my country again to help people out. My job is to help people all my life. So I wind up, as a matter of fact, I have over here, in there's a big book, it's called Who's Who, the big book. Wow. That's right. Open it up. Yeah, but it says right. You can find my name over here. Over here, you can keep on going.
Tell me where the papers at.
Pardon me?
I'm just telling you.
So how are you telling me how you found the number? How did you find that picture?
I didn't know anything about it. We had a gathering together, and we want to help a lot of Latvian Jews in Latvia itself. And by going to Latvia, I was invited to meet the Eben Museum there. This is the picture I found over there in the museum. Wow. And the curator said to me, you know, I'm going to put your book, this book over here, then it with a different cover. I said to me, all right, Reagan, I take a look. I found all these pictures hanging on the wall. His name is Meyer. I thought, what kind of people are they? Mini's name, Shepagibli. He don't know anything about it. They were all shot. I said, now wait a minute. You know this guy here? I know 3 people. He's Ikabash, that's his father, and that is me. I said to him, listen, you don't know who they are? I know 3 out of the 5. So how could it be? I know Ikabash, his father, but they were shot walking on a death march. And I stopped talking. He said to me, but you mentioned 3 of the 3rd one. You talking to me? That's me. The 281 they gave me in Lenta, in Latvia, and they took me to Germany. They gave me another number. Show me how many people have 2 numbers. How many people can say this is me hanging on the wall? And today, Baruch Hashem, I have 16. 10 of my own, and 6 of them got married. And they have all kids. All my kids have grandchildren already. That's all.
Okay, they just have a few more questions for you, okay?
Should go ahead.
How did you get to the U.S.?
I got to the U.S. on November 7th, on November 10th, 1947, a couple of years ago, all by myself. Because I found out by staying in Landsberg, my father got married the second time, and I was a shadchan. I didn't want to be by himself, but only 45 years old. He's crying enough in his life. So I said, listen, let's see what's going on here. I found out the mishpacha in the United States in Brooklyn. And so my father went away to the Landsmannschaft in those days. You remember what I'm talking about? That he's alive with his wife. So I get a letter back from my uncle, supposedly. He said, you know, I'm so happy that my sister is alive. I wrote him back a letter. It's not your sister. My father remarried, and she was shot. So he goes ahead. He stopped writing to me anymore. So I said to my father, listen, so long he's not writing anymore, I have a place where to go now. Now, in Germany, DP camps over there were a lot of anti-Semites, a lot of Latvians, Lithuanians, Hungarians, Ukraine, you know, and they all try to run away from their own country because they know for a fact they helped the Nazis, you know. So the end was when they decided to stay there. We gone to American consul, and they said, it takes some time for me to get there. Okay, that's no good. I decided to go to Hayas. You see, he's over the Hayas over here someplace. I should somewhere, I don't know. Right here, yeah. You see in the back? Turn around. This is the Hayas. This is the button was given to me from the Hayas. And I go there, and they say to me, if you want to come, you can take it out. See, it came out by itself. It should be able to take it out. Anyhow, I come into the Hayat and say, listen, you have two strikes against you. What are two strikes? We can turn the whole thing upside down, because you have to be, first of all, an all-around orphan. We'll take you, we'll switch the whole thing around, number one. Number two. Huh? And number two, they said to me, you can only take you up to 21. And I was just 22. So I had to go and change my age. And I said to them, I'm sorry, I have nobody. I have no father, no mother. And my father sits in the American consul in Munich. And I came out, and I'm happy. I said, now I'm going to the America for myself. Ich hatte schon begraben. Lebe dich geheit, sagt der guter Weg. I came in November, and he came in April 1949. He came here with his wife. When he came here, I had my own car, and I picked him up from Manhattan. I always met my girl, my beautiful lady, and 49 I met my wife right before Sukkot. And my mother was smart enough, she made in a hurry a Thanksgiving dinner. And they were all yelling, she invited all her brothers because my mother was born here too. They yelled, official what? Official, I got engaged. I got married in 1950, and in 51 I bought a house. My son was born in 51. Today my son has his own house, and my daughter has her own house, and my other son has his own house. One son is a doctor, one son is a pharmacist, and my daughter is a scientist. And they all have their own children, they all have grandchildren. That's an accomplishment in my life. And here's the book. This is one book which it says who's who, right? You saw the book, the big book. It's
Yeah,
not,
the
it's
big
not.
book, we saw it. Your name's in it, yeah.
And then there, now over here, want me to bring some pictures. I took along some pictures according to Rabbi Tanton, what is it?
What's that see?
Now you see, this is my mishpacha over here.
Wow.
And it needs to go, it needs to be like that.
Oh,
There's not enough
this?
light. Yeah, it needs to be further towards them. Yeah.
You can come around, look around. And if you want to buy the book, I'll sign the book for you. And over here, we have in our shul Daf HaKoreh. Every Shabbos morning, they fill out all the papers. People have Yortzeit, people have Simchas. Over here, my Yortzeit over here. All in 1 week, about, oh my. Today, I live all by myself in a house, in Mill Basin, 5-bedroom house. But I'm not lonely. My daughter just retired. She was director of infection diseases in Jamaica and in Flushing. And that's my life. Wherever I can go, I go. But if I can help out people, I do it. And that's what I'm doing. I hope I'm making people happy. And my story has to be told, and I keep on telling as long as I can. Any more questions?
Who didn't go?
I didn't bring everything I want you to know.
Okay,
How much longer we have?
probably the last one.
111.
It's
Yeah.
true. I
We
believe
got
start
3
the
minutes.
last question.
Okay, so do just do what is your message to our generation, then we'll give them the gift, okay?
Like I said, I have
Just what's your message? 40, and then like, what did you begin telling your story?
Just
Yeah,
start.
he told us that.
So, what is your message to our generation?
a message to me, you should not live through hell like I did.
Okay, so,
You should only live in peace and harmony.
wait, can you ask it again? There's just too much noise going on.
And something like this, but I went through, I don't wish anybody else.
Can you say that again?
Mr. Ratz, we're just gonna ask the question again, because there was noise, so
Go
what is your
ahead.
message?
What is your message to our generation?
A message to you generation, especially you guys. I only speak not to high schools, because you understand the situation that I went through. And to top it off, here at the end of the book, you can open up yourself, take a book and see the left page. This is part of my message. All the way down the left page. Praise for Jack Ratz. You read it? Go ahead and read it, somebody.
Thank you so much for your incredibly moving words to our 10th graders today. You are such an inspiration to all of us adults and students. You are awesome. There will be stories and tales about you. Your efforts of educating and lecturing are not going unnoticed. They are changing lives of people who do not know and those who have never met. Thanks again. I read your book in a day, and you are right. It will stay with me for the rest of my life. I feel unbelievably blessed to you and to the experience of your joy, your sorrow, and the courage in which you live this world.
Okay, you better very fast. Some people don't understand. It's okay. Now let's go back to next page. Next page. Go ahead. Maybe somebody else wants to read it.
Where?
What is
Just read it.
Next page. Right.
Dear Mr. Ratz, I would say, Michael Greenwood, right?
Dear Mr. Ratz, on behalf of the Jewish Lawyers Guild and Gender Fairness Committee of the New York County Supreme Court, we would like to express a profound appreciation for serving as our keynote speaker at this year's Holocaust Remembrance Program on Tuesday, April 9, 2013. Our audience of city and state court judges, attorneys, and court staff and members and the public were moved by your powerful remarks and personal recollections of your horrific experiences in the Riga ghetto and in the concentration camps. As a survivor who experienced endless miracles, you continue to fulfill your sacred promise to publicly remember the 6 million Jewish martyrs, including members of your beloved family who were brutally murdered by the Nazis, and to remind everyone to whom you speak of our responsibility to protect the civil and human rights of all people of the world, over and create a safer, fairer world of peace and tolerance, as well as just a society. May you be blessed with good health and experience only happy occasions with your family and friends who cherish you.
Very good. Now, next one wants to read on the other side of the page, the second column.
Dear Mr. Ratz, go ahead.
I was honored to receive your book, Endless Miracles, and your South Glen Falls APUH history presentation. I am pleased to see that through your book and presentations, you are passing on the memories, the history, and all that you have endured and accomplished to our youth and your fellow New Yorkers. The story of your life serves as a great inspiration for us all. I am glad that you can attend the claims conference.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. It was wonderful to meet you. Again, many thanks for your kindness and best wishes.
From whom?
Sincerely, Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
Okay. Next thing. Dear Mr. Ratz.
Dear Jack Ratz, we are gratefully acknowledge the receipt of the following documents which you were kind enough to forward to Yad Vashem. Your speech dedicated to Yom HaShoah, songs about Holocaust and Jewish suffering in the Yiddish and English. Information about your book, The Endless Miracle, and also about the DVD, The Holocaust Experience of Jack Ratz. The documents were added to our archives under the number 804-7264. Thank you for donating this important document to Yad Vashem. Sincerely, Michael Lewinsky, Archives at Division.
Dear Mr. Ratz, on behalf
On behalf of the Library of the Sydney Jewish Museum, I wish to express our appreciation to your kindness and generosity in donating your book, Endless Miracles. It is a valuable contribution to our library and will assist in the museum's endeavors to show and teach the Holocaust. Yours sincerely, Tinny Lenthin, Librarian.
Okay. Any other questions?
The students want to present you with a gift as a token of their appreciation and a letter.
Wait, another question.
Oh.
If you meet your parents, what would you ask them? What would you tell them today?
My parents,
Yes.
I went to plenty hell. In the 73 years, I'll never forget. What more can I tell them? I'm a lucky guy to go through so much hell and live to see children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. What more can... My mother was killed at... She was 41 years old. One brother was 1 year old. One was 9 years old, one was 12 years old. My older brother was 17 years old. He was shot next to Moscow. He was defending Moscow in those days, 1942. What can I do? Baruch Hashem, I look the other way around. All my kids, all college graduates. All my kids happily married. All my kids have children, and they're already married children. My son is involved in Chevra Kadisha for years already. And the respect you get from everybody else who lives in the 5 towns, and my daughter lives in West Hempstead, and all have happy lives. It's a blessing from God. What more can I say? So if you care to buy a book, this is only $5, and this is $25. You can look at the book, you might get.
First of all, you get a present from us. Then I'll ask you a present from you.
Wow.
Would you mind to come this way, please, all of you?
Yeah, sure.
Take more pictures. So,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
you're welcome. I hope you guys can remember me the rest of your life.
We will.
And the book, which I'm going to give you, is for the library. I'm not sure how many books actually you gave away. I gave them last year 120 books. And I got paid from a lady. Said, Jack, I want to be your partner.
So,
Girls,
Mr.
you
Ratz
want to
actually,
go around?
Mr. Ratz actually donated a box of books to Mag and David last year. We have a box of books here.
Say it
We gave to
again.
Rabbi Viton, remember?
Sure
We have a
remember.
box of books here because we gave it to Rabbi Viton.
So you still have some books left?
Yes, we do, we have some books left.
Wait, take it on the phone
Give it to
also.
them.
Take a picture on the phone.
I'm gonna take a picture.
I'm going to give it to them. If anybody wants to buy it, I'll sign it for you.
you should give away every year one book for the next 120 years.
You trying to curse me?
Audrey, get in here.
I'm good, I'm good enough.
All of you.
Why don't you stand up on the chair?
No.
No.
Mr. Ratz, so now Mag and David wrote you a letter, you have to put it in your book.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to go in the back of the book.
He wants to meet
Me
Rabbi
too.
Zucker. He
Oh,
wants to
Rabbi
see.
Zucker?
Yeah.
Can someone take, I'm sorry, Audrey, can you
Take
take
the stuff
water
off,
bottle
right,
and-
yeah.
No problem. Let me get Rabbi Zucker.
Look at that one, punishment.
Looking at the other camera.
Florence, you're part of the family.
Absolutely.
Oh, I can got you in.
Okay, it's all right.
Nice.
You have them?
I do white.
You got it.
We're gonna try to get Rabbi Zucker to
Thank you
come in
for-
here
Right.
to,
It's always
Okay, sorry.
I want to show you something else here in the book.
It's much bigger than me.
By the way,
Much bigger than me.
today I'm the publisher of the book. I own the publishing company. It's in my family with 13 there to serve. It's my grandson, it's my other grandson. And those here at the end, you see right over here, it's very interesting. Want to read this?
And
Oh.
it is on the floor, pick it up and step on it.
It says over here.
let's see, we got the prayers on, the afternoon prayers.
We said we'll
Yeah.
stay.
No, we will do,
We'll stay.
we'll stage it. We'll, we'll stage it.
Jack Ratz.
Wow!
How are you?
The kids had a good time.
I'm sure they did, and you look great. You don't change.
I don't change. You remind me, my wife was police supervisor in one of the hospitals, and she had a working there 4 years. She said, you know, tell me, why do you company by Eric looking so good? He said, my mom gets me the job.
Yeah, okay.
But unfortunately, my wife said, you got the message? No. The guy probably looks so great. My husband strokes my ears. It's a joke.
If you have to tell them it's a joke, that's a problem.
Because it's on here, I understand you have some books left from last year.
We do or we don't?
I don't know, according to the ladies at the Exxon.
Okay, so you know what no Rabbi Vitan would know.
Probably some different people know.
Yeah.
Because I gave them 120 books, I never did this before.
I remember. Yeah.
Most people pay for it.
I hear you, Jack.
So this, I carried all the stuff I have, and I made sure to come today, let them do it.
I'm sorry.
And the virus, that was all.
Then why'd you shake my hand?
Okay, today.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. How about you? It's great to see you.
I just came from a wedding, my granddaughter got married.
Oh, Mazel Tov.
In Yerushalayim, right after Yom Kippur.
So you're just now in Israel?
I was just 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
For 6 weeks. My other granddaughter, my grandson, spent 6 months in the army.
Wow.
Now he became a citizen there too.
So wait, 6 months Army, he fought in the summer? He was
He was there, he was, but
wow.
turned out he wasn't living out too much. And now he became a father.
Mazel Tov. Well, look at you.
I was Thunderkid.
You decided to get the birth. Wow. This is, you have the patriarch, you have a whole family, it's beautiful.
No, telling you right now, this is a little tissue, by the way.
I see it's a new cover.
The cover's a new also, but you got it.
Oh, Howard Adelson, that's also new, yeah?
That's right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he passed away. And I didn't know.
Who's Matthew? That's your son?
Matthew's my grandson.
Grandson, wow.
He became the, he's the, actually, I'm the president. This is my book, this is my company. I own the company, the printing company. He's the publisher.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's right.
Pack rat. Means you save everything?
Wanted to say that
Yeah.
so many hundreds of letters in the house. And this is my granddaughter. She teaches over there in my national day school. You must know the guys there too.
I know the guys in Manhattan Day School very well.
Sure. So the lady, the principal, invited me to come. She
Very
sent me a
nice.
letter. And she said to me, and the letter, she said, I'm the Kodesh of the Kedoshim.
She's She's not kidding. She's not kidding. This was the team?
Yeah.
So I met Jack Ratz, I don't know, 20 years, more than 20 years ago, in Florida. Do you remember? Florida. Yeah. So I was giving shiurim at a hotel of a Pesach at the Saxony. Very good.
Saxony, my mother loved that place.
And he came to the shiurim, and we became friends. You guys are very lucky. You lucked out. I wouldn't say this in front of anybody else,
And then
but
I spoke in the high school.
yeah, you spoke. That's good. Yeah.
Then he was
Very good.
Elementary, came to elementary.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying like years ago, you came to Frisch. I brought you to Frisch High School. And, yeah.
So not mistaken, my son, my daughter-in-law, sister-in-law, and then his girlfriend.
Okay.
With the teacher here.
Yeah. And then, yeah.
Then I spoke there, and I mentioned the country I come from. And this friend of mine was together, they came, his name is Fried. And his son was going to Frisch.
Yeah.
And then your wife was not mistaken, you had the coil.
Yep.
I spoke there to my wife.
Yep.
I'm speaking over 25 years old.
Well, listen, you got to keep it up. Another 25. No, don't say I don't know. Another 25. Yeah.
First thing I walked in here, I want to know if you're still here.
Still here, Baruch Hashem. You guys lucked out. You guys really lucked out.
I think I'll bring a couple of books in case anybody wants to buy it, I'll find it. If not, it's mine. I was even reading about me, even who's who was there.
Is that right?
Yeah, the book's right here.
So how many books did you bring?
Only 5.
You brought 5?
Yes.
How much is the book?
Jack.
25.
Okay.
So also, can you, see if you can get me Rabbi Towel, okay?
Tell me, I need your name and your wife's name.
Jack, I'm gonna go, I'll be back. Don't, you leaving, when are you leaving?
Whenever you want.
Okay. I'm gonna come back in about 5 minutes, okay.
My name is Isaac Tao, my wife is Frida.
Isaac,
No, one has two. Yes, one has two A's.
and they're the same name.